D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals rules against the Department of Justice, refusing to order the dismissal of the case against Michael Flynn. Here's One America's Christina Bobb, who sat down with DOJ spokeswoman Kerri Kupec to learn more.
Thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me on.
Interesting finding from the D.C. Court of Appeals in the Michael Flynn case. It ruled essentially against both the Department of Justice and Michael Flynn. Can you tell me about the finding?
And so the Department of Justice, as the prosecutor, has the sole discretion to either bring a case or drop a case. That's the power vested within us as a member of the executive branch. Obviously, that's not the job of a judge. And so knowing what we now know, thanks to the great work of our U.S. Attorney, Jeff Jensen, he's our U.S. Attorney out of Missouri, who the Attorney General appointed to take a look at the Michael Flynn case. And just some background on him, 10-year career prosecutor, 10-year member of the FBI, examined the case, took a few months, very thorough guy. In fact, I think he was even an accountant at some point in his life, so you can imagine how meticulous he is. And he said, based on what he had found, he believed that not one of our 93 U.S. attorneys in the country would have continued this case against Michael Flynn. And so based on his recommendation, the Attorney General sought to drop this case. And then Sidney Powell, who's counsel for General Flynn, she also just decided not to move forward with some of the additional things that she was bringing as well. So ordinarily, the case would be over. Instead, Judge Sullivan did something that was quite unprecedented. He decided that he wanted to hold a hearing as to what he should do, whether or not he should grant or drop the case. And as part of this hearing, he appointed a lawyer, outside counsel essentially for himself, to come in and argue against the Department of Justice. Well, General Flynn's lawyer then went and sought something called a writ of mandamus, and that's something that you go to the appeals court for. And what that does is basically you ask the appeals court to instruct, to tell the lower court, you must do as we're seeking. You must, and in this case, you must drop this case. And typically, it's done again. So that's an extraordinary request. It's extraordinary relief. But there, the three-judge panel on the D.C. Circuit agreed and said, and they didn't really touch the merits of the case, but they said that, yes, the Department of Justice has the authority to bring or drop cases. So, yes, Judge Sullivan, you must now grant the Department of Justice's motion to dismiss this case. Well, Judge Sullivan then appealed that decision to the full D.C. court, and they just issued an order just, I believe it was a week or so ago, saying that Judge Sullivan can get to have his hearing after all. Again, they're not touching the merits of the actual case, but they're letting Judge Sullivan proceed with this hearing where he'll bring in a lawyer to argue against the Department of Justice, where we will argue yet again why we think this case should be dropped.
Does the Department of Justice see this as an overtly political move, or why would the judge do this?
I'm going to let what's happened speak for itself. In addition to him appointing the retired judge, Judge Gleason, who had come out very strongly, I believe, in the Washington Post, expressing his opinions about the Flynn case, was very anti the Department of Justice's position. And the very next day is when Judge Sullivan asked him to be his lawyer in this particular hearing for this case. So I think it speaks for itself.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate you coming on.
Thank you.
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One America News on YouTube, and call your cable provider and kindly demand that One America News is added to your lineup. Call and subscribe today.